Hey everyone, and welcome to the Jack of All Trades podcast. I'm your host, Kaylee Musso, and I have just reached the end of an era, and I'm actually very sad about it. So I figured maybe talking about it now, doing an episode about it today, will maybe make me feel a little better. Maybe it won't, but I want to talk about it kind of while it's on my mind. So the end of an era, the era that I am finishing is college. Well, honestly, with that, school, like for good. And I know that everyone has different perspectives on it. First of all, obviously, not everyone went to college, but, if you did, or if you are right now, maybe you're sad about graduation, maybe you're not. Some people are more sentimental and nostalgic than other people. I am very sentimental, very nostalgic, and I have a very hard time with goodbyes and chapters closing and new chapters opening. And I get really in my feels about it. And I very much am this week. Now, at the time that I'm recording this episode, graduation is coming up this weekend. So it's in less than a week. Obviously, when this is released, I will have already graduated college. I'm sure I'll have updates later on down the line about how I'm feeling about that. But anyways, I'm really sad. I was just up at campus this past weekend. For those of you that haven't listened to other episodes or don't know, I'm a bit over an hour from campus, but I've been living at home this last semester, just finishing up 2 online classes and going up to work live broadcasts because my major is video and film production with a focus on live broadcasting. So really, my last full semester on campus was last semester, but still, I was just up there for the weekend visiting and, just coming home. It's like just thinking about all the people that I, even this past weekend, saw for the last time because, maybe they're not seniors, they're not going to be at graduation. Like I'll probably never see them again, and it's people that I'm so used to being around, and it's really sad. And I just kind of want to talk about, I guess, my college experience in general and just some of the things that made it so great, some of the things that made it not so great, and just kind of in honor of this chapter closing, I really wanted to do an episode about it to kind of just memorialize, if you will, all of my memories from the past few years. First of all, though, I just want to say that even though I'm just really sad about this ending. I am excited about the next chapter and what's to come, and I know that it's not like this is the last good thing that's ever going to happen to me, right? Like, obviously, I know there's more exciting things in the future coming, but I'm sad about it. I'm sad about college ending, but I just want to clarify or maybe like make a disclaimer that college wasn't easy for me, or it wasn't something that made me totally happy all the time. I went through such an emotional roller coaster throughout college. First of all, the first year of college, I was at a different school. I was at a community college more locally, and I was living at home and just commuting to campus for, classes, and that was it. So I was never really on campus. I wasn't super involved. I wasn't trying to make any lifelong friends because I knew that I was only going to be there for a year. So it was pretty lonely. I literally was just at home doing homework, and then I would go to school for my classes, which were all pretty much gen eds. I didn't care about them at all, the subject matter. And then I would go to work, and I would come home, and I would go to karate, or I would go to church, and I would come home. And that was really it. And, I didn't really stay friends with anyone from high school because it was kind of one-sided friendships, to be honest. Like, they all went off and did their own thing and kind of, didn't really care. So it was like I lost contact with most of them. And it's not like I had people that I was hanging out with. But that was my first year of college. So really, for me, it kind of feels like my college started, like my true college experience, when I transferred to the university that I was at for then the next 3 years. So really, it's like I kind of hardly count my first year as even being part of my college experience. So just as a general rule today, when I'm talking about my college experience in this era, I'm mostly referring to the 3 years of being at the university rather than the community college. I'm kind of excluding that first year. But yeah, no, college was not easy at all. First of all, academically, it wasn't, especially because I transferred. And so I was constantly like so overworked, and I hardly had free time, like depending on the semester, but I was always stressed. I was always really, really busy, busier than a lot of other people, it seemed. Always had something going on. So I was really challenged in that way. And then also just socially and mentally and emotionally, like I went through such a journey, and I learned a lot about myself, and I experienced my first relationship and then my first breakup, and I made some really good friends, and then I experienced, friend groups kind of shifting and drifting away, and I experienced being lonely, feeling like everyone else, had their friends and I didn't have mine, and there was just a lot to it. So I want to give that disclaimer, like college was not easy for me. It was not 100% a happy experience. I shed a lot of tears. However, it's still like it's left me with so many good memories and things that I'm going to really, really miss. So just wanted to kind of point that out. But yeah, I already talked about transferring. So kind of to segue into that, like when I first arrived at my university, it was an adjustment. I was actually living in the dorms and, away from home, and my roommate situation was not good. If you want more stories about that, a few episodes ago, I did stories about, my college dorm experience and crazy roommate stories and all that. So go check that out. But yeah, no, so my roommate situation wasn't good. I didn't really know anybody. Like it took a while because also it was a weird situation where I wasn't a freshman, I wasn't new to college, but I was new to the school, and so I wasn't in with all of the people that had made friends with each other the previous year. So it took a while to kind of find where I sort of fit in, and it took a lot of me having to really network and just kind of put myself out there. And now, like, I know so many people. You know, compared to other people, other classmates of mine, like in my major, I know way more people in just the collection of majors as a whole. We call it NESCOM, New England School of Communications. It's part of our college, but it's it's like the video majors, the audio majors, the sports journalism majors, the graphic design majors. Like it's a collection of majors. But I know a lot of people just from all the events I've worked, all the networking I've done. So obviously things changed since I first arrived, but really the big thing that kind of got my foot in the door to some of my best friendships that I made was joining a club. And the club that I joined was not the club that I originally planned on joining. So I am a self-taught dancer. If you haven't listened to the episode where I talked with one of my classmates, M, about, her, because she's a dancer. And so we did an episode about kind of that and burnout with childhood sports. Go check that one out. But yeah, I'm a dancer, and I went to the club fair where, everyone kind of shows off their clubs and tries to get new people to join. I went to the club fair not too long into my first semester there because I wanted to sign up for dance club. And I went to their table and I talked to them, and the problem was that it was Sundays from like 11 to 2 or something, and I go to church on Sunday mornings, and I wouldn't get back to campus until like 12:15, and then I would have to change and rush over, and it logistically, schedule-wise, just didn't work out. But I was walking past and I was looking around, and I was in concert band all throughout school. I play the flute. But I just kind of figured like after high school, that would be it for me. So I was looking and I noticed there was a table that was like pep band, and there was this guy sitting there, and he saw me looking at the poster and he was like, "Oh, do you play an instrument?" I was like, "Yeah, I play flute," and so we got to talking, and he was like, "Well, yeah, you should totally sign up. Like, just come try it out." And so I was like, "You know what? Why not?" Right? So I did. I signed up for pep band, and yeah, first couple rehearsals, we were playing at volleyball that time in the semester at volleyball games. So it started to become something where it was really fun, and I didn't really know anyone in pep band, but the people, like the officers and just some of the other people in band, I was like, wow, I really want to become friends with them. Like, I would always see them in the dining hall, as I'd be sitting by myself, and I'd be like, wow, they look like they're having so much fun. They look like they know a lot of people. It was fun at being at pep band. Like, I looked forward to rehearsal so much because it was the one time a week that I got to see all those people and like actually hang out with people and have fun, because still at this time I didn't really know many people and really have many friends. And so yeah, it was like such an exciting time in the week for me. And eventually one of the girls in pep band, we were walking back to our dorm and we realized we were in the same dorm, and we kind of got to talking and we were like, you know what, we should have dinner together sometime, like, just get to know each other better. We realized that we were both transfer students and that it was actually for both of us, it was our first year there. She was a grade above me, but she had just gotten there as well. So neither one of us really knew anyone. And so we started getting dinner together sometimes and chatting, and both of us would be looking over at the big table with some of the other people from band, and we'd be like, wow, we really want to be friends with them. And so it's just kind of ironic that now those people are my friends. Like, that's, I guess we kind of got what we wanted because we ended up being kind of integrated into that friend group. I won't go into all the, step-by-step details of how it happened, but yeah, it ended up becoming my favorite friend group at the time. Like, it was really, really fun, and we ended up being at the point where we were sitting with them at meals and we were, doing stuff together, and it was great. And I loved pep band, and I would say, in my personal opinion, that sophomore year pep band was peak, because people were really invested in it. It was a pretty big group, like not a lot of new people had joined, and got really into it. Like, we would dress up for all the themed games. I mean, we literally, some of us go out shopping to like get costumes for it. And after that year, it kind of wasn't quite the same because some people didn't have time to do it anymore, or they switched schools. So the group got smaller, and I don't know, the student section at games, because we also played at basketball, the student section at games like got less, I guess, involved, like less vocal, less people didn't really, there weren't really themed games that we dressed up for and all that stuff. So I don't know. And I think people were a little bit tired sometimes. So I just think that sophomore year was the best, and it was so much fun, and we had a lot of fun at games, and it got me really into basketball, to be honest. I hadn't really been before, but just being there got me so into it. And yeah, that was just, I met some of my best friends through it. And it was sad when I played my last basketball game with pep band this past semester, because it was, or well, I guess maybe it was beginning of this semester, this spring semester, but it was like, wow, kind of, this is where it all started. This is where I made some of my best friends. And, obviously I'm really glad. So I always say to people how to make friends in college, join a club. And it's so cliche and everyone says it, but truly, join a club or a sports team. Anyway, so pep band, that was a really big part of my college experience, and I really loved it. So we also got to do other fun things. I mean, we played some jazz music sometimes, and I got to sing while the band played jazz, and that was pretty fun. We played at the Chick-fil-A drive-thru one time, except it was freezing cold because it was Christmas time, and yeah, that was rough. But lots of fun memories from that. And kind of going off of that, my sophomore year friend group that I was talking about, like, most of them, I met through pep band, and some of them, one of the dorm buildings that we had was like, it was 2 bedrooms and like a shared common bathroom and like living room area, and each of the 2 bedrooms had 2 beds, so there was 4 people. And so the president and vice president of pep band were in a room, and then 2 other guys. And so we met the 2 other guys through them, because my roommate, well, okay, it's hard to do this without saying names. I don't want you to get confused who I'm talking about, but I haven't like asked for permission to say names, so I don't want to. But the girl that had also transferred in, that I became friends with through band, she's the one that I ended up rooming with the next year. And so yeah, her and I got invited to these guys like from band to their room with a few others, because they would do Wii Wednesday and play games on the Wii, like Mario Kart and other things, a lot of times on Wednesday nights, like just a fun chance to get some people together and play some games. And it was really fun. And so we got invited, and that's how we met the other 2 roommates and a few other people. And yeah, so this friend group kind of formed. And then there was also another guy in band that this other girl had gone to high school with, and they ended up starting to date. I think it was that semester, later on. So yeah, it became this whole really fun friend group, and that I will cherish so much. And I really wish I would have appreciated it more when I actually had it. But, we would have so much fun. Like I said, Wednesday and things like that. But then also just going on random side quest adventures, like out to the store or out to, when we could go bowling for free with our student IDs, like, just things like that, or driving down to one of them. He was in marching band in high school. And so a few of us went down to the state that he lives in and got to see that for a weekend, and just different random little side quests. Like I said, that was really fun. And there were some of us that for a while we would get into this groove where we would go to what was called the campus center. There was just lots of tables and chairs, and it was in one of the buildings that was open 24/7. And so we would go down there and do homework like late into the night. And then, I mean, I say doing homework, but we would just get more and more delirious, and we would sometimes be distracting each other. And around midnight, we would usually go to the Furman Student Center, which had pool tables and ping pong and just stuff like that. And it was right nearby. So we would go there for what we called a brain break, and we'd play a few games of pool. And then we'd come back to the campus center and, air quotes here, get more work done until like 2 a.m., 3 a.m., and that was such a fun time too. Like, that's a very, very fond memory of mine. And also a lot of times we would get dinner together, like in the dining hall, because we all had a meal plan. We were all in dorms, and so we would all be sitting together, this big group of us, and half the time we'd stay for like an hour after the meal just talking. And it was so much fun. And I just wish that, again, I would have appreciated that more, because I didn't know that like the dynamic would change. I mean, when people get in relationships, things like that change. And so that's kind of what happened to some degree, is like, people getting in relationships that weren't in like with people in that immediate group. And so then they started spending less time with that group, or people moving off campus, or just different things. Like, if you have been through college, you probably know this, like your friend group that you have at any given time is not necessarily going to be the same friend group you have throughout all of college. And even just when I got there, like some of the people that I became friends with would talk about several different friend groups they used to be in freshman year that were no longer. And so that's just kind of, I think, part of the college experience. And obviously you're very, very fortunate if there's someone or several people that you stick with literally from day one, like all the way through. You're very lucky. But yeah, so not everything is built to last forever. And it's not that I'm not still friends with those people. Like, I am, but it's just we don't have that kind of cohesive friend group that we used to have, where we would all be hanging out all the time. And obviously life gets busy too, and just people grow in different ways. And yeah, so the dynamic changed, and now that's something that I value, that memory, but I also really miss it. But yeah, anyway, that's just kind of something that I've been thinking about a lot with this end of an era, And another really core part of my college experience was going to B-dubs, or Buffalo Wild Wings, as most of you might know it by. Everyone at school calls it B-dubs. But it's right nearby the college, and on Wednesday nights we could go there and use our dining dollars. Like, if you had a meal plan, you also had some dining dollars, and you could use those at Buffalo Wild Wings. So it was kind of a thing, like, let's go on a Wednesday night. So I've been with all kinds of different combinations of people. I've been with groups. I've been with just one other person, and it was always just so fun to go with different people and be there and chat. And I don't know, I have a lot of memories from going to B-dubs. Sometimes, I mean, a lot of times it was a Wednesday night, but sometimes it wasn't, sometimes it was a weekend or something. But just, I have so many memories from going there with people and just sitting and talking and having a great time. And so it was just really sad. I went there recently, kind of towards the end of this semester, after the last event that I worked. I went there with a bunch of the audio crew from the event. And it was like, when I was driving away, I was actually so sad, because I was like, B-dubs is such a core part of my college memories. Like, that was my last time going there as a college student, like with people. And, now I'm just always going to think about that when I go there in the future. It probably wouldn't be that exact location, but when I go to that restaurant in the future, I'm going to be thinking about like, this is college for me. This is my college experience. Like, this is my college place that I would go to eat. So, yeah, that's something that's definitely kind of sad. Like, the end of an era of going to B-dubs all the time with people. It was just such a fun little social moment. The next thing I want to touch on, and I'm not going to go into too much detail with this, but towards the beginning of this episode, I did mention that one of the reasons that college was a little bit tough for me is because I experienced my first relationship and then my first breakup. And that was such an emotional roller coaster for sure. So I started dating someone in pep band. Ironically, it was the guy that had recruited me in the first place, and we became good friends. And then beginning of the spring semester of my sophomore year, so my second semester there, we started dating. And then he lives literally across the country, so I didn't get to see him at all over the summer. But then we were still dating and like into the fall semester of my junior year. And then we broke up towards the end of junior year. We had to work on ourselves, and, it wasn't the right fit at the time, even though we still loved each other. There needed to be a change. And so that was really, really difficult. And to have to continue to show up to classes and show up to things and direct events and whatnot, and like be there and be strong while you're struggling with that is really tough. And also, not to mention the fact that we were still in the same friend circles, and like still it's not like we had completely different friend groups that we could just go revert back to, or completely different schedules to where we would never run into each other ever. Like, our lives were still kind of intertwined in certain ways, and we still really wanted to be friends. And it was just such a tough dynamic to navigate, even into like the entire next semester. So spring semester of junior year, like trying to figure out what it looked like to, be friends and deal with kind of still the hurt and the heartbreak and the growth. And it was such an emotional roller coaster, like I said. And then even over that summer, obviously we didn't see each other because he lives far away from where I live. And then the last year, so senior year, he ended up getting an internship that kept him down where he lives. And so he wasn't back at college. And my friend that I had talked about that I ended up rooming with, she, like I had said, was a year above me. So she wasn't there my senior year. And, other people were off campus or were in other relationships. And so it was just kind of, it was really lonely in a way my last year, because I also had my room completely to myself because the random assignment roommate I was supposed to have unenrolled like right before we were supposed to go back and move in. So yeah, it was crazy because I had so many acquaintances and people that I like knew and talked to and was friendly with and had fun with when we were around, like when we were around the NESCOM building or when we were around different places. But ultimately at the end of the day, like, they all had their best friends, and like my two best friends like weren't even there at all. And just, at that point I knew I was only going to be on campus for this one last semester, and then I would be home for the final semester. And so I was just tired and didn't want to put in the effort of making a whole bunch of new friends too, because I would have to really put myself out there. Like, there were no more clubs that I had time to join or wanted to join that would get me to meet new people. And I already knew and was acquainted with everyone in my major and in the several like related majors. And so it was like I would have had to do something drastic to meet new people. And I just was like, I was tired of it. So yeah, I mean, senior year was kind of lonely in that respect, but I got into a groove and I got into a routine, and I was really crazy busy, and I just tried to focus on school. And, it was again an emotional roller coaster, maybe for different reasons as well. But that's just part of college, I guess, right? And, speaking of seniors, one thing that I cherish, but also that makes me sad kind of a little bit, is before I was a senior, like the 2 years prior where I was at that university, I, started to become really really well acquainted with the current seniors at the time. And especially my junior year, I actually became friends, like actually friends with some of the seniors. And then they graduated, and it was really sad because most of them, well, some of them I've seen on the rare occasion since, but for the most part, it's like, these people graduate, and if you're not like the closest besties ever, then you're probably not going to really see each other ever again. And, you just start to become friends with someone and then they graduate, and that's really sad. So, and honestly, now that I am that senior in that position, I kind of feel the same way because there's some people in the grades below me that I feel like I've just kind of started to connect with and really enjoy being around. And now I'm graduating and leaving, and that's really sad. So I guess it's sad to be in both positions, the one leaving and the one being left. So yeah, both options are sad, but one thing that I'm really grateful for, and one thing that is kind of sad to be closing this chapter, but at the same time opening a new one related to it, is the passion that I discovered for live broadcasting while I was there. When I came there, I mean, the major video and film production is kind of a lot of it is focused on narrative filmmaking or commercial production, but there is an aspect of live broadcast, and everyone has to take at least the first level of that class. And that's kind of where I discovered a passion for it and ended up doing a complete 180 and focusing completely on live broadcasting, even though I still had to take the other classes for narrative. But I just discovered a passion for it, and that was something really cool and really unexpected. And honestly, I could not have predicted that at all. That's something that I'm really grateful that I discovered, is a passion for that, because now, I mean, I just accepted a full-time position that's a corporate audiovisual job, and it'll be probably a stepping stone to other things someday, but it's just, it's like I never would have seen that coming. And that's just such a big part of my college career and my college experience, is just working live broadcasts and learning so much and meeting a lot of people through it, and the highs and the lows and the victories and the not so much, victories, the challenges. There was just so much that I learned, and I grew so much, and I gained so many skills, like not just physical hard skills, but also just more soft skills too. So that's something that I'm really grateful for. And I am going to miss so much just the environment of working broadcasts for NESCOM Productions. And honestly, like nothing beats the experience of being in the production truck during like a basketball broadcast or something high energy, and you just filmed the pre-tape, or you just did a really cool sequence of some replays after a basket, and like the energy is just so incredible, and truly nothing beats it. And even just being there, setting up, tearing down with the whole crew, like, and my instructors and everyone, like, man, I'm gonna miss that so much. And it was something that for sure added stress, like work, because I worked like every event minus like maybe 3 or 4. But over the course of 5 semesters of doing live broadcast stuff, I was at pretty much every single event working it. And I had a fair amount of responsibility, or like a lot of responsibility, the past couple semesters, and, just the roles I was in. And I have done episodes about that if you're interested, directing and producing and all that. So go check those out. But yeah, it was a lot of pressure and it was a lot of stress, but truly it was the thing I was the most passionate about. And I was always excited that, it was broadcast day. And that was such a big part of my college career, and it's just really sad to close that chapter because I'm never really going to experience anything like that ever again. I mean, that's not to say that I'll never find myself working in a production truck ever again, or, filling maybe one of the roles that I filled at NESCOM, but I'm never going to be in a position where I'm a student getting to do all those cool things and work all those broadcasts and kind of dip my toes into a little bit of every different role and try every different role and do things like, I don't know, there's just a lot that is going to be so different. And even the full-time job that I accepted, like, is going to be so different. I mean, yeah, it's going to be using some of the same skill sets, and it's still kind of within my industry of choice, but it's very different from what I've been doing, really, in a way. So yeah, it's going to be such a transition, and that's something that I'm kind of sad about. And yeah, I mean, live broadcast has really connected me with a lot of other students, and I've been able to be a mentor to a lot of other students. I've had people come and shadow me at different events. And I love that. I love getting to teach people about it. I love getting to answer questions. I love getting to inspire people if I can. That's something that I'm also really sad about. I love to teach, and I don't want to be a teacher like as my career, academic teacher. But I really hope that in my life I can find ways to continue to be able to just mentor people, especially people that are younger than me or following in my footsteps. Like, I want to be able to teach people and inspire people and mentor people. And I'm also a karate instructor right now, and I am able to teach and inspire, other kids, teens, adults, people that I'm teaching at the dojo. I have done one or two episodes about karate stuff, so you can check those out as well. But yeah, I just, who knows how long I'll be able to do that, like if I move away, right? And now that I'm no longer a student with like up and coming students under me, that instructors would always kind of send my direction so that I could mentor them. Like without that, I'm just like, I really hope that I can somehow find a way to be able to mentor people in my life, in my career, whether it's related to my career or something else. Like, I don't know, but that's just something that I'm really sad about, because there are some students that I've started to connect with that are freshmen or juniors or whatever, sophomores, that I'm sad that I don't get to still be there next year, the year after, to help them out, to encourage them, to see their growth. Like I'm really actually very sad about that. I'm very sad about it. And it's so fulfilling to be able to help other people and teach other people. And one of the things that I got to do senior year, they do a thing for freshmen and like incoming students where they have this whole weekend planned out with events and activities, and you're assigned to a group and you have squad leaders, and those squad leaders are two students. And so I was working as a squad leader for welcome weekend, and basically I had a whole group of freshmen plus a few transfer students, and my group, it was all video students, luckily, and I'm a video student. So I was with them like all weekend, taking them to events, and I was, talking to them about the major and about my experiences. And it was a way for me to really hopefully leave a positive impact on a few of them, like as they were coming in. And then throughout that first semester, when I was actually on campus a lot more, I was able to kind of talk to a lot of them, because some of them were really struggling with one of the instructors and one of their classes and just kind of adjusting. And a lot of them were really discouraged or, needed help on things because they weren't sure what they were doing. And I was able to be there and talk to a lot of them and encourage a lot of them and help some of them when I could. And that was so fulfilling for me. And so to see some of them like this semester continuing on, like even if they're still struggling now with different stuff, it's like, I love getting to see them check in, be like, hey, how's it going? And just kind of be that, like, in a way, big sister, or like, just, I don't know. There's something about having a student mentor. Like, it's one thing for your instructors to tell you things, give you advice, help you out. But for it to come directly from another student that's been like, hey, I have been in your shoes. Like, I understand, I get it. And also, hey, like, student to student, here's something you should know. Like, that's just so special. And yeah, it's been really, really great. And I there was even one of the freshmen that told me one time, like, I literally want to be you. Like, I'm so inspired by you. And that was just so crazy for me to hear, because first of all, as someone who has struggled so much, like with a lot of things, it's like, obviously I feel like if someone truly knew like all the things that I've struggled with or just all of my experiences, you wouldn't be saying you want to be me. But also I'm just like, I'm honored that I can inspire people, and I just want to continue to be able to be that for people. And that's something that I'm really sad to leave behind at university, but hopefully I can find ways to continue to do that in my life in other areas. So yeah, we'll see. But I'm gonna miss that. I'm gonna miss just hanging out at NESCOM, like in that building, and just chatting with people. And obviously not just in that building, like other areas across campus too, but I was much more likely to run into people in that building, especially if we were all in a room editing our different projects or hanging out at the EDC, which is Equipment Distribution Center, where we would get all of our gear for filming. Like just hanging out with people there, running into people in the halls. Like it's so sad that, not just gonna randomly run into these people every other day, like a random Tuesday, I'm never gonna do that again. Like it's such a hard thing where there's people that they're not my besties, they're not my best friends, but they're acquaintances and they're colleagues and they're classmates and they're people that I genuinely want the best for in life. And it's just, it's, we're probably never going to talk to each other maybe ever again after we graduate, because again, we're not best friends. We don't have reason necessarily to like stay in touch all the time or come meet up or whatever. But, it's just really sad for me that all of those people that I'm used to just seeing, being around, hanging out with, even if they're just acquaintances, like I'm literally never probably going to see most of them ever again. And that's so sad to think about, for me anyways, because like I said, I'm very sentimental, I'm very nostalgic. That's just really sad. And I truly can't wait to see what everyone does with their lives, with their careers, because all of my classmates are genuinely so talented in different ways. Like it's so cool, and I'm always inspired by seeing them post some of their work and talk about things that they got to do. And it's just really cool. Like genuinely, I want to support every single one of them. And I just love that community and that network that we have like as classmates, because truly like everyone's so supportive of each other, and it's really, really great. And yeah, that's just something that makes me really sad about the end of this era. And the thing is, like, it's different from high school, right? Like when I graduated high school, I was sad for a bit, I was sentimental, I was nostalgic. Like I said, it's a closing chapter always makes me really think deeply and reflect back on all the memories and all of that, whether they were all good memories or not. Like either way, doesn't matter. But I remember after high school graduation and after our project grad, like, that hangout overnight, planned thing, I just remember walking back to my car and being like, I'm never going to see most of these people ever again. And that's so crazy, because for some of these people I've known since we were 3 years old. Like we have literally grown up. I mean, I was in a smaller school district. My high school had like just under 400 kids. So I pretty much knew everyone. And it was like so sad for me that I wasn't going to see these people ever again. And I mean, a lot of them I still see on social media and whatnot. But the thing is, like, I did not have, I wouldn't say that I had really good quality friendships in school growing up. I mean, that's not to say that I didn't have friends or that I didn't have people that did care about me or want to hang out with me sometimes. But just in general, especially, towards the end of high school, I was really feeling this. But a lot of the friendships that I had, because I was kind of in a big friend group, even though there was like little split offs kind of within that sometimes. But I was in a big friend group, but it felt very one-sided. And I would say the group that I was in was kind of, not to say like the popular girls, but sort of. I mean, they were all, most of them, like the school athletes, or, a lot of us were getting good grades, and we were involved, like in high school, we were involved in like homecoming week activities, and we were kind of just very involved. But a lot of it felt very one-sided. And so they would all hang out and do stuff and, not include me. And so there was a lot of that. And so I kind of was ready to leave that behind. And I was looking forward to hopefully making new, good quality friendships in college. And so that's one thing about graduating high school, is that, yeah, I was sad in a way. And I was kind of in my feels about, whoa, I'm never going to see these people again. But at the same time, they weren't people that I felt really, really, really close with. Like I was kind of okay with moving on, versus college. These are people that I have connected with a lot more. And while I still feel that there were a lot of one-sided situations in my college experience where, I would love to actually be closer friends with some of the people, there's a lot of that still, but we're all still very supportive of each other. And like I said, I've just connected a lot better with so many people at school now. And so it's just a lot more meaningful of a connection. And it's a harder goodbye because we've connected a lot more, even in these short few years. And I have made like some actual good friends too that I'll be saying goodbye to. And it's like, man, it's just so much more difficult and more sad than high school, because there's also, when you graduate high school, if you're going to college, you have that prospect of, oh, well, I have this next step where I can make a bunch of new friends and have this fresh start, versus college. When you graduate college, you're like, I'm going out into the world. I'm probably getting a job somewhere and I'm going to be a busy adult, and you're not just going to be in this environment where there's all these people that you can just meet because you're around them every day, and you're not just going to be around people your own age all the time every day anymore. And that's something that I'm really going to miss. But yeah, it's like you don't have this hopeful prospect of coming into this new environment where you're going to be surrounded by people that you can try and make friends with. Like, for most people, once you graduate college, it's not going to be like that, And so you have to kind of go out and try and find places to make your own friends, and try and stay in touch with the friends that you do have, even though you're probably all going to be moving different places and getting full-time jobs and being really busy and maybe settling down, starting a family. Like, who knows, right? Like, life happens. And so it's really tough knowing that you're not going to just see these people all the time. And for me, like, one of my best friends that I was talking about, like, lives literally across the country, and we're going to be employees with like limited time off, and who knows if or when we'll get to see each other ever again, like in person. And so that is going to be such a hard goodbye. Like, and that stuff is really tough for me. And obviously, again, when this episode comes out, graduation will have already happened and all of that. But for right now, it's just kind of something that I'm dreading. Like, I know some people are so ready to graduate and they're like, just give me that diploma, let me get out of here. Like, they they can't wait and whatever. But for me, I'm low-key kind of dreading it, just because it is a change, and it is a hard goodbye to a lot of things and a lot of people and a lot of memories. And don't even get me started on my instructors, like the impact that they've had on me, and just, not having them around me all the time as mentors and people that I trust and people that know me and they know my work ethic, and they trust me. And just, I'm going to have to find new people in my career that are like that. And it's so sad. Like, I'm going to miss my instructors so much, and I'm just so grateful for the impact that they've had on me. And I'm also going to miss just my college town. And I know that that also is not something that people would agree with, but for me, like, I grew up in the country, and the closest small town was like 20 minutes from me. But other than that, it was like, you have to go, well, okay, 15 maybe. But other than that, I'd have to go 25 minutes in either direction to get to like a decent sized town, with grocery stores and clothing stores and restaurants. And like, biggest city in the state, which Maine is not a massively populated state, as you probably know, but biggest city in the state was like 45, 50 minutes from me. So just being in the college town that I was in for university was so convenient, because literally 2 minutes away, there was grocery stores and clothing stores and fast food restaurants and sit down restaurants and gas stations and the highway. And, within 5 to 15 minutes away, there were even more options of all of those things, plus mini golf and bowling alleys and movie theaters and hiking trails. And like, just, there was so much conveniently right there, versus when I'm home, it's like, okay, I need to make a trip into town, or I need to go out of my way to go by this certain gas station so I can get gas, or, it's not as convenient. It's not like I can just go out and 3 minutes later be at some place that I need to go. So that's something I'm actually really going to miss, just because I didn't grow up having that. And as much as I like living in the country, like, I very much do like that, but just the convenience of being on campus and being close to everything is something that is kind of sad to say goodbye to. Anyway, I've rambled for a while. You probably get the point. I'm sad about graduation. Yes, of course I'm excited, but I'm sad, I'm sentimental, I'm nostalgic, I'm in my feels. And I just have so many great memories that I want to cherish, and so many not so great feelings and emotions that I want to leave behind. And I'm excited. I'm excited to see what the future holds. And it's just weird because I've been a student for literally 13 years, if you count like kindergarten and then 12 grades of school. So what now? I'm good at being a student. Like, that is something I'm good at. I've always been good at being a student. I'm used to being a student. That has been my whole life, every year up until this point, and it's over now. No more, no more summer vacation, no more winter break, no more spring break, no more, just any of that. And it's going to be so different. And there's so many adulty sort of things about living in our society that I have to learn and figure out. And I talked about that a little bit last episode, just about the chaos of being in your early 20s. And yeah, it's like school is over now. School is over. The other week, few weeks before recording this, when I turned in my very last ever homework assignments, I was like, wait a second. That was my last homework assignment ever in my life that I will be turning in. Unless, I guess I never know the future, but I don't plan on going back to school or anything, getting a master's or anything. So yeah, that's the last homework assignment that I'll ever turn in. Like, that is so crazy. So I think that's just something that's weird for me to think about, is like, I'm so used to being a student and now I'm not going to be ever again. And so yeah, what next? Like I said, I did accept a full-time position, so I will be a working adult that has to accrue paid time off. And I just kind of feel like this sounds so stupid to say, but I feel like I have too much of a life to have a full-time employment job like that. Like, I want to still be able to be involved at the karate dojo. I have stuff through my church. Like, I like to travel, and most of my friends outside of school live in different states or even a few in different countries and are so spread out. And so to be able to actually see friends, like, I would have to take time off and go take a long weekend or longer, and like have it be very intentional. And it's just, man, who has time for a full-time job in corporate America where you get -2 days off a year? Like, that's so insane. But anyway, not to get into that too much, I just want to thank you guys for sticking with this whole ramble of an episode. And if you're also graduating college and sad or sentimental about it, I feel you. Let me know in the comments or send me a message. If you recently graduated in the past few years, maybe let us all know how long it took you to kind of move on, or what you did to kind of help, or what your experience was, kind of after. I just have a feeling it's going to be a rough day for me. Or maybe graduation day might not be, it might be like after the fact, once everything kind of all hits me and like reality hits me. So we'll see what happens. Stay tuned for more. And if you didn't remember, I'm doing these episodes every 3 weeks now instead of every 2 weeks. So it'll be a few weeks before the next one, depending on when you're listening to this. But thanks for listening. And if you graduated this year, high school or college, happy graduation. Congratulations. On to the next. Let's see where life takes us. I hope you guys are having a great day, and I hope you have a great rest of your week and weekend whenever you're listening to this. And I will talk to you guys next time.